I consider myself pretty lucky to be at least a temporary resident of the state of California. Every morning when I open my blinds and look out my window, I'm lucky enough to see the ocean. I can see it while I'm driving to school. I can also see the ocean and the beach from school, and sometimes that's one of the reasons that I come here in the first place. For me, the ocean is a great motivator. I recently learned, however, that not everyone in California gets to enjoy this privilege. A study published by the University of California, Los Angeles, showed that many low-income families who are living in California or residents of the state of California don't get to enjoy the beautiful coast that their state is on. Today I'm going to talk about 3 barriers that these families face when trying to come to the beach, and then wrap it up by addressing the future of these issues and what's happening in the California legislature in order to maybe fix some of these barriers. The first issue that a lot of families face when trying to come to the beach are just financial ones. It can cost over $22 to come to the beach for just a day, and this doesn't include food or parking. So families can't just be spending $22 every day, even once a week. Some families can't even afford to do that just once a month. And if families are able to come to the beach for more than a day, and let's say stay overnight for 4 days, a hotel can cost over $600 for those 4 days in total. So really, it's not financially suitable for a lot of families to take trips to the beach, which is very unfortunate. The second barrier when it comes to families not being able to come to the beach are unfortunately very socioeconomical. It really pains me to report that from this study, segregation on the beaches is very real. Due to development of wealthier neighborhoods, many beaches are predominantly attended by white guests, leaving very little room or feelings of inclusion for other minorities or people of color. This is unfortunately something that we continue to face, even though one would think that these horrible figures are behind us in the past, but unfortunately it still happens. Specifically in a few beaches in Los Angeles, where many people of color, minorities, don't feel comfortable going to the beaches because they don't see people like themselves. So this is just horrible to think about because the beach should be enjoyed by all regardless of someone's skin color. The third barrier that a lot of families face when trying to go to the beach and not being allowed to do so is that of just pure infrastructure and accommodations. I mentioned before that accommodations can be quite costly when it comes to the beach, but in many areas, accommodations don't even exist. If you take Palos Verdes, for an example, which is a small town just south of Los Angeles, the people of Palos Verdes are not very welcome to tourism. Now, personally, I don't think that someone who lives in inland California is necessarily a tourist to the coast of California. But for this reason, Palos Verdes only has one affordable hotel that is almost always booked and very difficult to find a booking for. All of the other places to stay in Palos Verdes are luxury resorts. They've even gone as far as ending a short-term rental policy such as Airbnb. Not only this, but geographically, Palos Verdes is actually located on a cliff. So for anyone who even wanted to camp at the beach, they can forget about it because it's not even an option. Now, fortunately, people in the California Congress and Senate have realized that this is an issue. And this is where Assembly Bill 250 comes into play. It is a bill focused on not only creating new and more cost-efficient or cost-effective accommodations for families to stay at the beach, but also to refurbishing old and broken down and decrepit accommodations that already exist. Many small beach towns haven't been touched since the 80s and are well overdue for an update so that the citizens of California can enjoy them. I hope that everyone who has watched this today really thinks about that and thinks about the nature in your own country, city, or town, and how the people that you live with may not have access to those.